welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new around here, my name is Katie, I'm a full-time sketchbook artist, and we've got a little bit of a different video today because I am off to London. So I don't go up to London very often, it's about an hour and 45 on the train for me, but I am very excited to be visiting today and I'm going to make the most of it and I'm going to visit the art shops there. So there are three I'm going to be visiting: London Graphic Centre, Choosing Keeping, and Cornellisen Son. There are other art shops in London, there's also Jackson's Art, and there are multiple Cass art stores too, but I'm just going to be visiting these three today. I'm going to be showing you what they look like inside, all the different things that you can get, and the benefits of each. I am often asked about which art supply stores to visit in London. These three are pretty close together, they're very easy to get to, so hopefully this is helpful. There are supplies in some and not others, so hopefully this will help you make an informed decision, and I'll show you around inside. No doubt there will be an art haul to share with you afterwards as well. I'm sure I'll be tempted by some art supplies. So let's get on with it and let's go explore London. So we're starting off in Covent Garden. I really love Covent Garden and this is generally where I base myself when I do go to London, and the three art stores that I'm sharing are pretty close by. So we're starting with the largest one of the three, and this is London Graphic Centre. You can find this on 16 Shelton Street and it's only about a 7-minute walk from Covent Garden Market and it's right near Seven Dials. So they've been open since 1973 and they have stationery items such as these Japanese imports I'm showing on screen here. So it's home to Midori and also Traveller's Notebook, and some really lovely things here, but they are on the pricey side because obviously they come from Japan. So they have plenty of art supplies from sketchbooks to pens, paints and papers. They have a really good selection here from student grade and professional supplies as well, which the other two don't have. I really love that they stock the Royal Talon sketchbook so you can see all the lovely colours at the end of the aisle here. They didn't used to have these, so it's brilliant that they do now. They've got quite a wide selection of all the colours and sizes, including the white paper stock ones like those there. They have Stillman & Byrne, which I haven't seen elsewhere, and loads of Posca. They really do have a wide selection of most brands, so many that you'll probably recognise from my art supplies as well, so Winsor & Newton, Ecolina, Tombow and De La Rowney, so there's some FW inks here, and Systems 3 as well. They have loads of different colours, which is really nice. I definitely think they have the widest in terms of brands and colour selection, so I will share a little haul later on of the items that I bought. I also thought it was fun to see Stabilo here, so the woody crayons which are there as well, all the different packs there, and then some stationery items like post-its. And then up in this corner they've got more Japanese imports and more stationery. They have these little boxes which were very popular, they were on deal there, and then also some cards and gift wrap here. This is different from when I last visited, but here's an overall view of the store, and more pens, loads and loads of brands and selections. It was taken over in 2017 by Theo Pafitas, who owns Ryman, so I think that's why there's a bit more stationery vibes from the last time I came. But a huge Derwent selection there, and then here are some Tombows as well, so quite a good range there. And then more Japanese stuff here. So here are the Penco clampy clips, which I love using. I bought mine in Japan, but they do them here, obviously at a marked up price. So it's very fun to browse. It's pretty open plan, but I would say it's probably the poorest for accessibility in terms to get in, because although it's large, there are stairs at the entrance and then again up to the second floor, which I'll show in a minute. Definitely the biggest Caran d'Ache selection that I've seen. So you've got Neocolor IIs, Neocolor Is, and then also the special edition ones as well, which I didn't see in any of the other art supply stores, so I wanted to show them. And then also the Neocolor Is, and then of course Luminance Pencils here too, which are some of my favourites. So just when you think that's everything, this is the upstairs that I'm walking up now. This houses all of the loose papers, the framing supplies, more specialist sketchbooks and printmaking as well. So again, pretty open. Here are all the canvases and the papers, there's mount board there, and loose papers too, which I thought was really fun. Envelopes and writing papers, just a huge selection, and yeah, you can see here I'm just panning around on the prices, and then even more sketchbooks here. There are a few staff dotted about. It was a little bit hard to find them, certainly compared to the other stores, but it's also because it's bigger. Here I'm in the printmaking corner, so there's like brayers and lino cutting supplies and speedball and inks. There's also a huge amount of golden paint and Systems 3, and yeah, De La Rowney, lots and lots of different ones there, as well as a Sennelier display, so lots of oil pastels. I love seeing all the different colours. And then again, a huge amount of Winsor & Newton as well. So here's the gouache, they had oils, They also had a selection of paintbrushes and a small amount of books, but I would say this is the best for variety with many different brands and price points. So just around the corner from London Graphic Centre and about a 2-minute walk away is Choosing Keeping. So this is on 21 Tower Street in Seven Dials. It's technically a stationery store, but I wanted to include it because it's really charming, as you can see from the outside, and it has the biggest collection of Gansai Tambi paints I've ever seen in a store. It's small, independent, and it does feel like everything's been chosen and picked with purpose. I love that they have all these inks and really impressed that they've got all these swatches. That's such an important thing and I don't see it often in other art stores. But there's a huge array of inks and pens, which is something I wanted to note because for me I still use that for art and not just stationery. So they do have those lovely swatch books and the prices are all clearly displayed. They have beautiful notebooks, which you can see I'm browsing here, that are their own brand. So it just feels really curated and it's a real charming gem. They have plenty of stationery like staplers, pencils and rulers, which you can see I'm looking at here. They also have little sketchbooks and Blackwing, so a few brands you might recognise. Lots of lovely notebooks and pens, so the Pentel sign pen is there for like calligraphy, and a huge collection of fountain pens as well, which is kind of round the corner. It definitely leans heavier on the stationery side of things, so if you're looking for paints like gouache or oils, the other two stores are definitely your best bet. There's some inks and pastels here in the glass displays, but the reason why I wanted to mostly include it is because of their selection of Gansai Tambi paints. I love that they also have these swatched and a huge collection of different sets and colours. They designed these palettes themselves, depicting the 4 seasons, and then there's also ones that depict the decades, which is really fun to see. You might know of Gansai watercolour from Kuretake, but I love that Choosing Keeping have curated their own collections, which are made in Japan and designed with these lovely boxes. It's quirky and a lovely shop to visit, but a lot of the prices are at the higher end due to its curated selection from other small businesses, so perhaps not an art shop, but still one I highly recommend. Next up is Cornellisen Son. Another really small shop, but a historic one because it was established in 1855 and the shop maintains its original Victorian fittings, which you can see from the lovely outside, as well as inside too. It's definitely the oldest art shop I've ever visited and it's absolutely beautiful inside. It's on 105 Great Russell Street. Its closest tube station is Tottenham Court Road, but we walked it from Covent Garden, which took around 15 minutes. It's about 10 minutes from both London Graphic Centre and Choosing Keeping. But there's loads in here. I saw art graph, which I didn't see before, and they had a selection of pigment powders, which you can see here lining the walls. Just so lovely to see. They have plenty of tools and supplies for making your own paints and properly sizing and priming canvases too. They boast that they stock hard to find artist equipment and have materials for artists, calligraphers and printmakers. Now, as you can see, it is a tighter space than the other ones, but they have packed this in, so it really is like an Aladdin's cave. I love seeing all of the pastels out like this, and yeah, they generally have very well-known names and usually the higher end of art supplies, so for more professional artists rather than the student grade ones which you might find at London Graphic Centre. They still have the inks and like the Sennelier, so there's a bit of a crossover there, but I'd say there's a bigger selection here in terms of the higher end. There's plenty of character, lots and lots of staff on hand as well for help and advice, but it is quite small and tight, especially when busy. It's very popular, but it does mean that the amount of people in there can be a little bit of an issue. I did have to sort of move around between people just because of the small space. They also have their own brand of stuff as well, so like these historical inks, and again the swatches are there, which I think is really helpful. Now, I would say you kind of have to hunt for things here, or you can obviously ask the staff, but there's a lot of things hidden away in corners and in drawers. I really love these marbled papers. How pretty are they? I think that would be lovely if you were like binding your own sketchbook, but here's an example of like Unison pastels in the drawers. So fun to see these all, but obviously you need to have time to look through them, which if it's really busy it can be tricky to do, but I love these. It feels like a proper old school art shop or like a sweet shop for artists, and yeah, plenty of brands. Like here's some Schmincke gouache. They also have loads of palette knives and paintbrushes and just a really big display. I would say that it was harder to see prices for things, so something to think about, but they definitely have the biggest in terms of stock. I love these soft pastels, which I took to the counter and then they had other stuff behind, so it's definitely worth speaking to the staff if there's something that you can't find, because I know they have more in stock in their back room. I would say they have a big amount of brands and supplies, but it is a struggle to find them all, but it's definitely a gem and one I really recommend. So here's an extra bonus one actually. This recently opened earlier this year. It's a shop within a shop, So this is the art shop, which is within the flagship store of Waterstones in the Piccadilly branch. And they had a really good selection actually, I was pleasantly surprised. They've got Derwent in there, they've got some sketchbooks as well, they've got some Tombow, though a much smaller range than the other ones. Again with Posca, smaller range, but I really liked that this was there and it was fun to browse. Loads and loads of art books, of course. This is a bookstore, so that was really nice to see, and I definitely recommend visiting if you're in the area. Even if it is just to look at the books, I really like that they also have the art stuff there as well. So I did want to include it, even though obviously it's not technically an art store, but I was impressed with the brands that they had there. So there were a few that I recognised, and they did have canvases as well, and a small selection, but still quite a broad one. They had oils, they had paper, and also pro art brushes, which I didn't see elsewhere. So still one to check out. I hope that was helpful to see all the different art stores, and now it's time for a haul. Okay, so I'm back from London now, so I thought I would film a haul just to show you what I got. Not a huge amount, but still a few really nice bits. So we'll start with the London Graphic Centre because I went there first. So I picked up a couple of pens and also topped up on some of my favourites. So first up are these Pebeo Colorex markers. These are watercolour ink in here. I do have a couple of these before and I really like them. So I think I bought the one that I have from Austria when I went on my little art trip there, and I really liked it, and I had the chartreuse, and I think I have a grey as well. But I really liked how juicy they are, so I also picked up these ones when I saw them in London Graphic Centre. We have number 46 Sanguine and 38 Olive Green. Just going to bring in my sketchbook for me to do some swatching for you. So first up is the Sanguine. They're a bit squeaky, but they do remind me of the Echolina markers, if you've got those. I don't necessarily think you need both, but I do like that these are more watercolour ink. So they're really juicy, gives me a bit of time to smudge, as you can see there. So they're probably a little bit juicier than the Echolinas. The Tombows I find are the least juicy brush pens. The brush has got this flexible tip, so you can go really thin or thicker on its side like this. So I really like that. I think it's got a lot of versatility. I've also got a water brush pen here, and yeah, I can pick up some pigment there as well. So I just really like the versatility of these. So that's the Sanguine, and now I'll do the same for the Olive Green. So again, just a different colour but same nib. I love this kind of green. Really, really nice. I find this is my most used green. I really like how it works. And again, just like the juiciness of these, you can get quite a lot of variation as well. And then again, there's a bit of Sanguine on my brush there, but yeah, I can pick up some of the pigment. Then I also bought some pencils and some Neocolors. So these are from Caran d'Ache. I am really enjoying my Holbein pencils, but there are still a few colours I know I absolutely love in the Luminance. So I did pick up another Moss Green. This has fast become one of my favourite greens. This is Moss Green 225. So just a really nice, it's less olive, it's making the olive green of the Colorex marker much more brown tone. This is really, really nice. Again, just a lovely versatile green. I'd say it's a mid colour, but it works really, really well with some of my more yellow greens. So there was that one, and I also picked up another one. So this is actually Brown Ochre 50% 836. I really like the look of this one, so I thought I would give this one a go. This is actually new to me. This is generally how I build up my collections of pencils, is to buy colours that I think I'll use a lot and I really like, rather than buying a full-on multi-set. So this is just a really nice warm neutral. Yeah, that's a lovely shade. It's definitely very ochre. Again, it's quite mid-tone. Reminds me of like a sand colour. Really, really nice, and I do love the consistency of these Luminance pencils. Okay, and then next up I did buy a couple of Neocolor IIs. So the first one is a true favourite of mine. This one is the Cobalt Blue 5%. I think they started changing the name of this one because it used to be called Light Cobalt Blue Hue. If you've seen any of my favourite supply videos, you'll know this is a staple. Just a really lovely sky blue. And then I did buy another one as well, which is beige. So this actually looks very different to my other beige, which is why I wanted to test it out, because this one looks more grey tone. So I'm actually going to grab the other one that I have just to compare. Okay, so this is the beige from my set. So top is the new one, and then bottom, I mean the wrap has definitely discoloured, so perhaps that's what I'm thinking of. Let's look at the number. Yeah, the number's the same, and actually looking at it, it is similar. So let's swatch these out. Okay, so new beige at the top. I really like this because this is warm. I really like warm colours. I think it's a bit darker than it looks on the wrapper, and it definitely looks very different to this one that I've already got. Yeah, it is the exact same, so that's good to know. It kind of has a violet tone, I think, a really warm neutral. I use this a lot for rocks and stones, and you can see that it does become a little bit more yellow toned when you add water to it. So again, really nice colour. Okay, so that is everything that I bought from London Graphic Centre, so let's move this off. Then I went to Choosing Keeping. Now, as I mentioned, it is more stationary, but there is a huge array of Gansai Tambi paints in there. I didn't need to buy any more, so I just bought a new notebook. It came in this really lovely packaging. They have these lovely bird stickers, which I'm going to peel off and stick into my journal. But I've taken it out of the packaging just to remove any rustling noise. And then here is the journal that I bought. So really, really lovely. I really love this. It feels very special. I love the colours. It feels very dainty and pretty. I really like their end papers and that it's got Choosing Keeping in there. So it's their own brand. It's their own notebooks. And I really want to support this shop, which is why I bought one. They also let me choose a sticker at the till, so you can write your... It's kind of like a nameplate, I suppose, but I think I'll use that elsewhere because I could just write my nameplate there. As you can see, I have already started using this because I'm using this for my morning pages, which, if you've not seen my vlog series, I'm following the artist's way, and I just want something special for my morning pages. They are just stream of consciousness journaling, but I really am enjoying it, and so I thought I would treat myself to this lovely notebook. If I put it on its side, you can see it's also got marbled paper edges, so I really like that. There's such a nice amount of thought in here, and it's finished really, really well, so love the colour there. And yeah, it's just super neat and really lovely patterns, so really looking forward to filling this. Okay, and then after Choosing Keeping, I went to Cornellisen Son. This is the first time I'd visited, and I decided to treat myself. The storage in there is amazing. I will have talked about this on the voiceover and how, you know, you kind of have to go looking for supplies. But when I saw these, I was like, I really want to try these. Okay, so I did pick up a postcard. So there we go. That is the shop from the outside at a better angle than I certainly took my footage at. But I bought these pastels, so soft pastels, 8 half sticks, and these are Unison colour pastels. First time I've ever tried Unison, and I've heard really good things. I've heard such lovely compliments about Unison pastels, so I'm excited to give them a go. They had quite a few sets, so I think I recorded there was the summer set as well, and maybe a spring set, but I loved the greens in here. So it's just packaged in this little box. And there we go, those are all my different greens, which are just so lovely, perfect for summer. Really excited to use this one, and I'd like to use them as a base too. Some of them look quite crumbly, and I'm very new to pastels, so I'm not sure how that will work out. Hopefully they're pretty sturdy because I am quite heavy-handed with my supplies, but perhaps I'll need to be a bit more careful with pastels. As I said, I haven't used pastels much in my work. I tend to use the pan pastels, but I'm really looking forward to combining this with other media. But yeah, I love the dark greens. I really love the bright ones. There's a couple that I'm not sure I would use on their own. They're quite lurid, but I think paired with other things, and I want to play around with gouache on top, I think this will just be a really fun supply to play around with, really encourage my experimentation and have a play. So really excited to use those and incorporate them into my mixed media work. The very last thing that I picked up was this. I don't know if it's a postcard or a greetings card. I think it counts as a greetings card, but I bought it just for the art. I actually picked this up in Bankside Gallery. I was going there to visit the Quentin Blake art exhibition which was 90 drawings, and I saw this in their gift shop. So yeah, it does come with an envelope, so I think it's supposed to be a card, and it folds out, so it's quite delicate. It's a cutout, paper cutout. You've got the nest there, which I really love, and then it folds out with another bird there, so I'm going to try and get it in shot. But really, really lovely. I love Mark Hurl's work. Recently bought one of his new books, Walker's Invention. I just love the texture and the play he has in his work. He uses a lot of collage, and as you can see, loads of different mediums to get some of this texture. So I thought this would just be nice. I'm not planning on giving it away. I do love buying artist greeting cards to have as art in my studio and just propping them up here and there. So I'm going to be doing the same with this one. Oh, this on the other side, that's where you would write your message. So the other side of the nest. And then yeah, it's just the birds again. But I really love this. I just find it really inspiring. So definitely something I'm going to display proudly in my studio. So that's everything I bought in London. Really excited to play around with my supplies. Not a huge art haul, but again, I'm just trying to be quite conscientious of what I pick up and just buying new supplies that I know I will use and experiment with. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit different, but I really had a good time going to all the art stores in London, and I hope it's helpful for if you're planning a trip or want to visit. A huge thank you to my patrons. Without their support, I wouldn't be able to make these videos here on YouTube, and thank you for watching. I will see you next Sunday in my new YouTube video. See you later!